Shalom to the nation of Israel. This is Barzal coming in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and to the hopeful elect pushing his word and truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This lesson is going to be titled, The Lord's Fury is Upon All the Armies, right? And you can see right now that he's stirring up the armies. Well, he's always been stirring up the armies, but it's getting more hot, or hotter, I should say. So I saw a lesson that Apostle Tahar was doing about he's going to Germany, and I was like, that's very interesting, right? So I just typed in Germany not sending help. And it's like, okay, so you can see like there's articles that say Germany promised Ukraine weapons but hasn't delivered. Now anger toward Berlin is rising. That was 19 hours ago, right? And the reason why Apostle Tahar was also going into his lesson is because of the they're kind of like how he phrased it was a rock in a hard place. So if they send Ukraine the weapons and the tanks and stuff like that, Russia's going to cut off their oil because they get oil from Russia. So clearly they weren't thinking like carefully when they promised Ukraine these weapons, right? Because now it's pretty obvious what they have to do. Well, it's either they have two choices. Either they send them the weapons to Ukraine and get cut off by Russia, which is going to mess up their economy, or they side with Russia. And yeah, sure, the world might turn on them, but they're partners with Russia. So the smart decision here is to go with Russia, which I think is what's going to happen, right? Right. So they did say they're going to send them these weapons, but they haven't done it yet, right? Now you see 3 days ago, pressure builds on Germany to send military aid to Ukraine. So they still haven't done it. Why is Germany not sending Ukraine heavy weapons? Right? Germany cut Ukraine support in line with Putin aims. Well, why isn't Germany supplying Ukraine with heavy weapons? So it's been since April. That was April 22nd. So they're still not doing it. So most likely they're not going to do it because this is since April. So that's April, May, June, July, August, September. That's almost 6 months ago. And they still haven't sent anything. So most likely they're not going to send anything. And what's going to happen? They're going to join with Russia. Right? So this was start of Isaiah 34. Because the prophecies are slowly unfolding, right? If you can see what's going on. Right? Isaiah 34:1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all the things that come forth of it. Right? So the prophets are speaking, right? That's what on the highways and byways doing the videos. We're telling you, look, this is what's happening, right? The nations, Gog and Magog, right, are joining together with other nations. Slowly but surely, they're going to come against Babylon, right? Because Ukraine is partnered with Babylon. So Ukraine's going to be taken out. And it's not going to be destroyed, but they're going to win this war, right? That's what's going to happen. They're going to win the war, and then they're going to move on to the next target, right? For the indignation of the Lord Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He has utterly destroyed them. He had delivered them to the slaughter, right? And that's what's going to happen, right? All these nations are going to come together, and then Yahweh Shai is going to come through the angels, Yahweh Shai and Michael, right? And they're going to come and destroy all the Lord's armies. But this has to happen first, where the armies, right, have to join together, or sorry, you could say the world's armies have to join together with Russia, right? Because that's the bear. And then we're going to go to read up to verse 5. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood, right? This means the missiles and the lasers from the chariots. And all the hosts of the heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as a leaf falleth off the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. Right? So all those planes that they have in the sky, the satellites, jets, all the air support are going to be taken out of the sky by the Yahweh Shai, the angels, and the chariots, right, with Michael. They're going to take out everything. Because sooner or later, everyone's going to join up. Well, first they're going to join up with Russia, right? And then they're going to turn on to Babylon. And what's going to happen is Yahweh Shai and the angels with Michael are going to appear, and then they're going to turn on to them and try to fight them, right? And that's when it's going to be a world, I guess, it's going to be a world, war of worlds, right? It's going to be Esau's world or the beast world versus is the world of Yahweh Shem Shai, right? And they're going to lose, obviously. They're going to get taken out. And it's just telling you the prophecy is speaking right now what's going to happen. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is Esau, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Right? So Esau, this is Esau's kingdom, because that's why it referenced Idumea. And I believe that is the Greek way to say it was Idumea was I believe it was a city. Let me just check this out real quick. I think it was in the Greek. Idumea. Edomite. Edom is red. Edomite, Idumean, descendants of Esau. Land of Edom, Idumea, land south of east of Palestine. All right. So it was a land in yeah, I believe it's how you say it in the Greek. I could be wrong. Maybe that's how you say Edom. Okay. So you go to Jeremiah. Right, you can see it's slowly happening, right? Germany is not going to send these weapons. So Ukraine's going to get cut off. And that's another person that's going to join with Russia. Because they're going to have to get joined with Russia because they're going to be isolated. If they don't join with Russia, they're going to be a target. So they have to side with someone to protect themselves. So it's either they're going to pick Ukraine, which is really America, because Ukraine is connected to America, which is Babylon, or they're going to stay with Russia, which is the bear, right? They're going to pick Russia. And it's already, you're going to see they pretty much already picked Russia. They haven't sent these weapons. It's been 6 months, right? So we're going to go to Jeremiah 29. Let's see. This is the one I want. That's not the one I want. That is what's going to happen. Okay, there we go. Jeremiah 51:1. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. And that destroying wind is going to be the missiles, right? It's a destroying wind because if you watched the Terminator movies, especially the first one, you see when the missiles hit the city, I think it's, I forgot what her name is. It's something Connor, but she had a vision of what was going to happen. And the missiles hit the city, and it was just a destroying wind that came and just destroyed everything. Right? Destroyed everything. Everything. It was a wind of fire. Right? So that's the missiles from the chariots. Sorry, not the missiles from the chariots. The missiles, the ICBM missiles from that are gonna be shot out of the missile silos from all the different countries. Right? Verse 2, and I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. And that's happening right now. Right? Let me go to the word fanners. Let's see what it says there. Fanners. To be strange, be a stranger. To become estranged, strange, another stranger, foreigner, an enemy. Loathsome. Interesting. Oh, enemy. So it has the word enemy. So if you put it, it says, I will send unto Babylon enemies that shall estrange her, alienate her. Ah, you see? You see how it's cool. So I will send unto Babylon enemies that shall alienate her and shall empty her land. See how it makes more sense now? Right? So it's already sending Babylon enemies. You can see It's gonna be Germany now. You got Russia, you got China, you got Turkey, you got Iran. It's building up. The enemies are building up. It's slowly but surely, it's building up. And they're starting to surround Babylon. Because these guys had enough. Right? They had enough of it. Right? And shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth let the archer bend his bows, talking about the missile silos, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigandine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. So they're going to be utterly destroyed, right? So, wow. See, that's why you got to look up the words. Now we're going to go to Revelation. Actually, let's go to... Don't want to make this too long. Second Ezra's 13 and 1. Okay, Second Ezra 13 and 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. I just talked about the destroying wind. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of a number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which would gather together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, and he saw the violence of the multitude that came. He neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight. Right? So talking about like I was saying before, how, right, all these people, all these nations, all these armies, at one point while they're fighting Babylon, which is America, they're going to turn onto Yahushai, Michael, and the angels, right? So they're going to try to subdue them, Michael, because now that's an enemy to their world, right? So they're going to try to subdue them, but it's not going to work because it just said right here. I'll start from 10. But only I saw that he sent out his mouth as it has been a blast of fire. So it's not actually going to come out of his mouth. It's going to come from the beams from the chariots. Right? I'm not saying Yahushai couldn't, create fire to come out of his mouth. If he really wanted to do that, he could, but that's not what it's talking about. Right? And out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest. Remember, the missiles from the chariot, or not the missiles from the ICBM missiles are still going to be firing, right? Because people are still shooting at each other. They're still shooting at each other. They just decided now, okay, we got to turn on Yahushai and the angels in the chariots. And the Lord is going to be controlling those missiles. So it's going to be a lot of fire, a lot of explosions. You got beams from chariots, you got the ICBM missiles going. It's going to be a lot of death, a lot of destruction, right? And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived. Wow. So they're going to be wiped out. But only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So you're going to get wiped out, right? It's going to be a destroying wind. It's going to just wipe out all of them. The whole army, all of them are going to be taken out. Okay? So, that's it on that. I don't want to make this long, but you can see, right? You know what? Let's... Okay, let's start from 7. Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. So, like I was saying, that's why the nations are turning on Babylon, which is America, right? They had enough. They had enough of it. All of their philosophies, their doctrines, their way of life, they had enough. So one by one, they're turning against Babylon, which is America, right? Babylon is suddenly fallen, destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed, right? So she's not going to be healed, right? She's not going to be healed because when the missiles from the chariots hit America, it's going to wipe it out. It's going to wipe it out. It's going to be wiped out. Anyways, that was on that. They don't want to make this too long. But the point is that you can see right here that Germany is now going to have to now sign with Russia. So that's another nation turning on to the bear, right? And turning on to America. Because Ukraine is with America. So if they're not helping Ukraine, that means they're not helping America, right? So now they're enemy of Babylon, okay? So hopefully this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect that pushes word and truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. And shalom until next time.